Let's talk about this fifth anniversary of the collapse of Lehman Brothers, the beginning of the recession, and who has profited in this last 5 years. It has certainly not been bad for everyone.
Oh, no. In fact, Emmanuel Saez, my colleague at Berkeley, who has really done the pioneering work on determining who's got what and looked at income tax records, he's just come out with a new study showing that since the recovery, almost all the gains have gone to the very, very top. People who are in the top 1% are doing better than they did even before the Great Recession, better than they have done since 1928. Remember what happened after 1928. We had a great crash. Remember what happened after 2007, which was the last peak in terms of inequality. We had another crash. We can get back to why there is a relationship there. But most Americans are on a downward escalator. The median wage in the United States, adjusted for inflation, keeps on dropping.
You use the image of a suspension bridge to talk about inequality in the film.
Because up until this new study shows that 2012 actually is the new peak. The old peaks were 1928 and 2007, which is interesting because in 1929 and 2008 we had crashes. And I think it's not coincidental because when so much of the nation's income and wealth go to the top, the rest simply don't have the purchasing power to keep the economy going at full employment.
Talk about what's happened to everyone else.
What's happening to everybody else is not only wages eroding and a very large number of discouraged workers who basically are never going to be able to find jobs, but economic insecurity. Most Americans today, even if they have jobs, even if the jobs pay fairly well, are much more insecure than Americans have ever been at work before, at least in living memory, because we have a huge number of contingent workers, huge number of part-time workers, huge number of workers who can't know what their paychecks are going to be because they're paid on a contingency fee, bonuses, working hours, billable hours. That means that they cannot plan and have to live to some extent from paycheck to paycheck. That insecurity, Amy, coupled with declining wages, coupled with more and more concentration of income and wealth at the very top, has led to a an economy that is very vulnerable and a democracy that is also very vulnerable because all of that money at the top is being transformed into political power every day.
What about the significance of the Occupy movement, the coining of the term 99%, and where are we today?
Well, on the positive side, the Occupy movement has had a huge effect of putting this issue front and center. Page one, a lot of discussion, reframing the debate so that people understand that it's not the middle class against the poor. It's basically a small group of Americans at the very top. I mean, the 400 richest Americans, 400 of them have more wealth than the bottom 150 million of us put together. The heirs of Walmart. Just the Walmart heirs who own, a huge chunk of Walmart stock, they have more wealth than the bottom 40% of Americans put together. I mean, this is mind-boggling, and the Occupy movement showed America what was happening. Unfortunately, on the negative side, Occupy did not organize itself and discipline itself and develop politically strategic ways of effectuating many of the objections it had. And so that once the mayors and the universities began clearing out these encampments, there wasn't the kind of organization that's needed for a sustained, long-term social movement. And one thing we've learned over the years, Amy, whether it's the labor movement or the women's movement or it's the civil rights movement or any other movement, it takes a long time, it takes a great deal of discipline, it takes strategy, it takes politics, and it takes patience.